Have you ever felt that quiet frustration? That creeping doubt? When something that used to feel natural, effortless even, suddenly becomes a struggle. Perhaps you've noticed a shift, a diminishing spark in an area of your life that once brought you so much joy and confidence, a vital part of your masculinity. It's a topic many of us are hesitant to discuss, almost as if acknowledging it makes it more real. But it's a reality for so many men as we reach our golden years. You might find yourself wondering why things aren't working the way they used to. And it's easy to jump to conclusions, to feel a sense of loss or even blame yourself. But what if I told you that a significant part of this struggle isn't about age alone, or something you can't control? What if some of the biggest culprits are actually sitting right there on your dinner plate, in your fridge, or in your snack cupboard? The truth is, many of the everyday foods we enjoy, thinking nothing of it, are silently undermining our health. And yes, our performance, in ways we might not even consider. It's a secret that the food industry certainly isn't shouting about, and it's one that could change your life. In this video, we're going to pull back the curtain on 5 common foods that are literally killing erections after 60, and what you can start doing about it today to reclaim your vitality. Stay with me, because if you watch to the very end, there's something I'll share that will truly surprise you and give you immense hope. Now, let's dive right into the first major culprit, a category of foods that many of us grew up loving, finding comfort in, and perhaps still rely on for quick meals or snacks: processed meats. Think about those sizzling sausages at breakfast, the bacon you might enjoy on a Sunday morning, or the deli meats that make up so many convenient sandwiches for lunch. These aren't just innocent pleasures. They're often packed with ingredients that are particularly damaging to the delicate systems responsible for a healthy erection. What exactly is it about these processed meats that makes them so detrimental? Well, for starters, they are typically loaded with sodium. Your body needs some sodium, of course, but the amounts found in processed meats are often far beyond what's healthy. High sodium intake is a notorious contributor to high blood pressure, and high blood pressure, or hypertension, is a silent killer of your vascular health. When your blood pressure is consistently elevated, it puts immense strain on your arteries, making them stiffer and narrower over time. And when those crucial blood vessels that need to expand and allow blood to flow freely to the penis become stiff and constricted, well, you can imagine the challenge that creates for achieving and maintaining a firm erection. Beyond the salt, processed meats also contain something called nitrates and nitrites. These are additives used for preserving color and preventing bacterial growth, especially in cured meats. While they might make your hot dog look appealing and last longer on the shelf, inside your body, nitrates can convert into compounds that contribute to oxidative stress and inflammation. Think of inflammation as a smoldering fire within your body, slowly damaging cells and tissues, including the delicate lining of your blood vessels, known as the endothelium. A healthy endothelium is essential for producing nitric oxide, a critical molecule that helps relax blood vessels and allows for increased blood flow, exactly what you need for an erection. When inflammation damages this lining, nitric oxide production goes down, and suddenly, that vital pathway for blood flow becomes sluggish, compromised, or even blocked. It's a bit like trying to run water through a rusty, constricted pipe. It just doesn't flow as it should. Furthermore, these meats are often very high in unhealthy saturated fats and even trans fats, especially if they've been fried or heavily processed. These fats contribute to elevated levels of bad cholesterol, or LDL cholesterol, which then leads to the buildup of plaque in your arteries. This process, known as atherosclerosis, is essentially the hardening and narrowing of your arteries. Imagine those essential blood vessels in your pelvic region, already delicate, slowly getting clogged up with this sticky plaque. It's like a traffic jam building up, making it harder and harder for blood to reach where it needs to go with the necessary force and volume. And the more severe this plaque buildup becomes, the more difficult it is for you to achieve and sustain an erection. because the very mechanism of an erection relies entirely on robust blood flow. So, what can you do about it? It's not about giving up flavor or enjoyment. Instead of processed deli meats, try lean grilled chicken or turkey breast for your sandwiches. Opt for fresh, unprocessed cuts of meat, and enjoy them in moderation, focusing on smaller portions and less frequently. When you do have red meat, choose leaner cuts and trim visible fat. Explore plant-based proteins like lentils, beans, and tofu, which are not only heart-healthy, but also provide fantastic nutrients without the drawbacks of processed meats. Even things like homemade meat patties from lean ground beef, seasoned with herbs and spices instead of relying on pre-made, high-sodium versions, can make a huge difference. Think about how you prepare your food too. Grilling or baking is far preferable to frying, reducing the intake of those harmful fats. Small changes in how you choose and prepare your protein can have a profound positive impact on your cardiovascular system, and by extension, on your erectile function. It's about making smarter choices that nourish your body, not deplete it. Now that we've really understood the impact of processed meats and excessive red meat on your vitality, let's move on to another incredibly pervasive and often overlooked dietary enemy that's silently wreaking havoc on your body and your erections. Moving on from those processed meats, let's turn our attention to something that's perhaps even more pervasive in our modern diets, often hidden in plain sight, and incredibly damaging to our vascular health: sugary beverages and hidden sugars. When I talk about sugary beverages, I'm not just talking about the obvious culprits like sodas and energy drinks. I'm also referring to seemingly innocuous fruit juices that are stripped of their fiber and loaded with concentrated sugars, sweetened teas, and even many fancy coffee drinks. The problem with these liquid calories is that they deliver a massive dose of sugar into your bloodstream incredibly quickly, leading to rapid spikes in blood sugar. Your body is designed to handle some sugar, but not in these concentrated, unnaturally high amounts. When your blood sugar repeatedly spikes, it forces your pancreas to release large amounts of insulin to bring it back down. Over time, this constant demand for insulin can lead to insulin resistance, a condition where your cells become less responsive to insulin signals. This is a stepping stone to type 2 diabetes, a condition that's directly linked to erectile dysfunction. Diabetes damages blood vessels throughout the body, including those vital to an erection, and it also harms nerves, further complicating the issue. But it's not just about diabetes. These sugar spikes also trigger a cascade of inflammation and oxidative stress within your body. Remember how we talked about inflammation damaging the delicate lining of your blood vessels? The endothelium well. Sugar is a huge instigator of that damage. When your endothelial cells are constantly inflamed and stressed, they can't produce enough nitric oxide, which is that crucial molecule for blood vessel relaxation and blood flow. Think of it this way: for an erection to happen, the arteries in the penis need to open wide, allowing a surge of blood to fill the spongy tissues. Nitric oxide is the key that unlocks these arteries. If your body isn't making enough, or if the arteries themselves are stiff and damaged from years of sugar abuse, that key simply won't work as effectively, or at all. The blood flow becomes insufficient, and what you're left with is a flaccid or poorly sustained erection. It's a direct consequence of how your body processes all that excess sugar. And let's not forget the hidden sugars that lurk in so many packaged foods: breakfast cereals, sauces, salad dressings, yogurt, bread, and even savory snacks. Food manufacturers often add high fructose corn syrup or various forms of sugar not just for taste, but for texture and preservation. You might think you're eating a healthy meal, but you could be inadvertently consuming a significant amount of sugar that's silently contributing to the same problems: inflammation, insulin resistance, and blood vessel damage. It's a sneaky adversary because it doesn't always taste overtly sweet. The trick is to read labels carefully and look for added sugars under various names like dextrose, maltose, sucrose, corn syrup, or anything ending in eose. So, what's the solution? It's simpler than you might think, though it requires a shift in habits. Start by cutting out sugary beverages entirely. Replace them with water, plain sparkling water with a slice of lemon or lime, or unsweetened tea. Water is essential for every bodily function, including healthy circulation, and it's completely free of the damaging effects of sugar. When it comes to hidden sugars, focus on eating whole, unprocessed foods as much as possible. Choose fresh fruits for sweetness instead of fruit juices or candies. If you're buying packaged foods, make a habit of checking the ingredient list for added sugars. Cook more meals at home from scratch, where you have complete control over the ingredients. This allows you to naturally reduce your sugar intake and replace it with nutrient-dense foods that support overall health and optimal blood flow. Taking control of your sugar consumption is one of the most powerful steps you can take to protect your arteries, improve your insulin sensitivity, and truly rejuvenate your erectile function. Now that we've talked about how sugar impacts your ability to perform, let's talk about another dietary villain that often goes hand in hand with it: those tempting deep-fried foods and the insidious trans fats they contain. So, we've tackled processed meats and the pervasive problem of sugar. Now, let's move on to the third major dietary roadblock to robust erections: deep-fried foods and trans fats. Think about that crispy fried chicken, those golden French fries, delicious donuts, or even many commercially baked goods. While they might be tempting for their crunch and flavor, they are often saturated with unhealthy fats, particularly trans fats, which are devastating for your cardiovascular system and, by direct extension, your ability to achieve and maintain an erection. What makes these fats so problematic? Trans fats, also known as partially hydrogenated oils, are artificially created fats designed to extend shelf life and give foods a certain texture. But inside your body, they are incredibly inflammatory. They directly contribute to an increase in your bad cholesterol LDL and a decrease in your good cholesterol HDL, creating a perfect storm for arterial damage. Imagine your arteries, those vital pathways carrying blood throughout your body, including to your penis. Trans fats contribute to the buildup of plaque along the inner walls of these arteries. This plaque is a sticky, fatty substance that hardens and narrows the vessels, a process called atherosclerosis. As this plaque accumulates, it reduces the space available for blood to flow freely. For an erection, you need a substantial rush of blood into the erectile tissues. If those arteries are clogged and constricted, it's simply impossible for enough blood to get through, leading to weak or non-existent erections. It's like trying to fill a balloon quickly with a tiny, constricted hose. It just won't work. The problem is compounded when these foods are deep fried, because the oils used for frying, even if they start out somewhat better, often degrade at high temperatures, creating even more harmful compounds. Plus, many restaurants and fast food chains reuse their frying oils, which further increases the concentration of unhealthy fats and inflammatory byproducts. The sheer volume of these damaged fats that you consume when eating deep-fried items puts an enormous strain on your cardiovascular system, leading to widespread inflammation and arterial stiffness. Beyond the direct impact on arteries, chronic inflammation caused by these fats also affects your overall endothelial function. Remember, the endothelium is that delicate lining of your blood vessels that produces nitric oxide, the molecule crucial for relaxing and widening blood vessels. When trans fats and the inflammatory cascade, they trigger damage the endothelium. Nitric oxide production plummets. Without sufficient nitric oxide, your blood vessels can't relax properly, and the vital blood flow required for an erection simply won't happen. It's a vicious cycle where poor dietary choices lead to arterial damage, which then severely compromises your body's ability to initiate and maintain an erection. This isn't just about weight gain, though that's often a consequence. It's about fundamental damage to the very plumbing system that governs your sexual health. So, what can you do to avoid these harmful fats without feeling deprived? The simplest step is to drastically reduce your consumption of deep-fried foods. If you're used to having fries with every meal, try roasted potatoes or a side salad instead. Instead of fried chicken, opt for baked or grilled chicken. When you're cooking at home, choose healthier cooking methods like baking, roasting, steaming, or grilling. Use healthy fats like olive oil or avocado oil in moderation, and avoid anything that lists partially hydrogenated oil in its ingredients. Read food labels carefully, even on packaged snacks and desserts, as trans fats can be hidden there. Focus on whole, unprocessed foods that are naturally low in these harmful fats. Incorporate plenty of fresh vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, and whole grains into your diet. Small shifts, like swapping out one fried meal a week for a baked one, or choosing nuts and seeds over chips for a snack, can accumulate into significant improvements in your arterial health and, ultimately, your erectile function. It's about being mindful of what you put into your body and choosing nourishing options that support robust blood flow. Next up, we're going to tackle another common dietary staple that might be secretly undermining your health and vitality: refined grains. All right, we've covered processed meats, sugary drinks, and the perils of deep-fried foods and trans fats. Now, let's shine a light on the fourth food category that can silently sabotage your erections: refined grains. Think about white bread, white pasta, white rice, many breakfast cereals, pastries, and almost anything made with white flour. These foods might seem harmless, even comforting, but they are dramatically different from their whole grain counterparts and have a significant impact on your body, including your sexual health. When grains are refined, the bran and germ are removed, stripping away most of the fiber, vitamins, and minerals. What's left is primarily the starchy endosperm, which is essentially pure carbohydrate. When you eat refined grains, your body quickly breaks down these carbohydrates into glucose, causing a rapid and significant spike in your blood sugar levels. This rapid blood sugar spike triggers a large release of insulin, much like we discussed with sugary drinks. Over time, frequent consumption of refined grains can lead to insulin resistance, a condition where your cells become less responsive to insulin. This not only increases your risk of developing type 2 diabetes, a well-established cause of erectile dysfunction due to its damage to blood vessels and nerves, but it also promotes systemic inflammation. Remember that quiet, smoldering fire of inflammation. We talked about refined grains can stoke those flames. This chronic inflammation damages the delicate lining of your blood vessels, the endothelium, impairing its ability to produce nitric oxide. Without sufficient nitric oxide, the blood vessels in your penis cannot relax and expand properly, leading to insufficient blood flow for a firm erection. It's a continuous assault on the very system that enables healthy erectile function. Consider also the sheer lack of nutrients in refined grains, unlike whole grains, which provide fiber, B vitamins, and minerals crucial for energy production and cardiovascular health. Refined grains offer little beyond empty calories. Your body is working overtime to process these nutrient-poor foods, which can contribute to overall fatigue and a lack of vitality. When your body is constantly battling inflammation and struggling with blood sugar regulation, it diverts resources away from other functions, including those related to sexual health. It's a bit like running an engine on low-quality fuel. It might run, but it won't perform optimally, and over time, it will sustain damage. The impact isn't just immediate, it's cumulative, slowly eroding your body's capacity for spontaneous and firm erections over years of consumption. So, what's the alternative? The solution here is straightforward: embrace whole grains. Instead of white bread, choose 100% whole wheat bread. Opt for brown rice or quinoa instead of white rice. Swap white pasta for whole wheat pasta. Incorporate oats, barley, and farro into your diet. Whole grains retain their bran and germ, meaning they are rich in fiber, which slows down glucose absorption, preventing those dramatic blood sugar spikes. The fiber also supports a healthy gut microbiome, which is increasingly being linked to overall health, including cardiovascular function. Furthermore, whole grains provide essential B vitamins, magnesium, and other nutrients that support energy levels and reduce inflammation. Making this switch can feel significant at first, especially if you're accustomed to the taste and texture of refined grains. But many whole grain options are delicious and versatile, and there are countless recipes available to help you make the transition. It's about choosing foods that fuel your body efficiently and provide sustained energy, rather than creating a roller coaster of blood sugar highs and lows that contribute to arterial damage and overall poor health. By prioritizing whole grains, you're not just improving your general health, you're directly supporting the health of your blood vessels and the delicate mechanisms vital for a strong erection. And now, let's talk about the fifth and final category that might be surprisingly affecting your performance: excessive sodium from unexpected sources. We've journeyed through processed meats, sugary drinks, deep-fried foods, and refined grains. Our fifth and final food category that can silently sabotage your erections is often overlooked because it's so pervasive in our modern diet, especially in packaged and restaurant foods: excessive sodium, particularly from sources you might not immediately suspect. While salt is essential for life, the problem lies in the sheer volume of sodium most people consume, far beyond what their bodies need. This isn't just about adding extra salt to your food at the dinner table. It's about the hidden sodium in seemingly innocent foods. Think about canned soups, frozen meals, packaged snacks like crackers and chips, bottled sauces, fast food, and even some seemingly healthy options like cottage cheese or breakfast cereals. Food manufacturers use sodium not just for flavor, but as a preservative, a texture enhancer, and a binding agent, often in astonishing quantities. The primary way excessive sodium harms your erections is through its direct impact on your blood pressure. High sodium intake causes your body to retain more water, which increases the volume of blood in your arteries. This increased blood volume puts more pressure on your artery walls, leading to high blood pressure, or hypertension. As we've discussed, hypertension is a major enemy of your cardiovascular system. Sustained high blood pressure damages the delicate lining of your blood vessels, making them stiffer and less elastic over time. This includes the incredibly important arteries that supply blood to your penis. For an erection to occur, these arteries must be able to relax and expand rapidly to allow a rush of blood into the erectile tissues. When they are stiff and narrowed from years of high blood pressure, they simply cannot perform this vital function effectively. The blood flow becomes restricted, leading to weak or inconsistent erections. It's a direct mechanical issue if the pipes are under too much pressure and are becoming rigid. The necessary surge of fluid just won't happen. Moreover, chronic high blood pressure, driven by excessive sodium, also contributes to inflammation and oxidative stress throughout your vascular system. This further impairs the production of nitric oxide, that critical molecule that signals blood vessels to relax and open up. Without sufficient nitric oxide, the communication between your nervous system and your blood vessels breaks down, and the erectile response is severely compromised. It's a cascading effect where one negative dietary habit triggers a series of physiological responses that all converge on limiting blood flow and overall vascular health, which is absolutely fundamental to sexual function. And the insidious nature of high sodium intake is that you might not feel its immediate effects, but the damage is silently accumulating over years. You might not taste the salt in a processed cookie or a chicken broth, but it's there, building up its detrimental impact. So, how can you reduce your sodium intake and protect your arteries? The most impactful step is to drastically reduce your consumption of processed, packaged, and fast foods. These are by far the biggest sources of hidden sodium in the average diet. Focus on cooking more meals at home from fresh, whole ingredients. This gives you complete control over the amount of salt you add. When you're grocery shopping, make a habit of checking food labels and looking for low sodium or no added salt versions of canned goods. Broths and sauces. Season your food with herbs, spices, garlic, onion, and citrus juices instead of relying solely on salt. Taste your food before adding salt and gradually reduce the amount you use. Your palate will adapt surprisingly quickly. When eating out, don't be afraid to ask for dishes to be prepared with less salt, or choose options that are naturally lower in sodium, like grilled fish or steamed vegetables. Making these conscious choices will not only help manage your blood pressure, but will also directly support the health of your blood vessels, leading to better circulation throughout your body, including where it matters most for your erections. So, we've covered 5 powerful foods that can dramatically impact your erectile health after 60 those inflammation-inducing processed meats, the blood sugar-spiking sugary drinks and hidden sugars, the artery-clogging deep-fried foods and trans fats, the nutrient-deficient refined grains, and the circulation-hampering excessive sodium from processed sources. While these might seem like separate issues, they all share a common thread: they contribute to inflammation, damage blood vessels, disrupt hormone balance, and impair blood flow. All critical factors for robust erections. But here's the reassuring truth, and this is the surprise I promised you. It is absolutely not too late to make significant improvements. Your body, even at 60 and beyond, has an incredible capacity for healing and regeneration when given the right tools. Small, consistent changes in your diet can lead to remarkable results, sometimes faster than you might imagine. By consciously reducing your intake of these 5 detrimental food categories and replacing them with whole, nutrient-dense foods, you're not just improving your erectile function, you're boosting your overall energy, protecting your heart, sharpening your mind, and enhancing your quality of life across the board. Imagine the confidence, the renewed intimacy, and the general feeling of well-being that comes from taking control of your health. It's about empowering yourself, understanding that you have agency over your body and your vitality. Don't let past habits define your future. Every healthy choice you make today is an investment in a more vibrant, fulfilling tomorrow. We're all on this journey together, and your experiences are incredibly valuable. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Have you tried cutting back on any of these foods? And if so, what changes have you noticed? What are your favorite healthy alternatives? Your insights could genuinely help someone else watching this video. If you found this information helpful and empowering, please give this video a thumbs up. Liking the video helps it reach more men who could benefit from this knowledge. And if you want more practical, actionable advice to live your best life at every age, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Remember, living your best life isn't just about longevity, it's about vitality, connection, and confidence. You absolutely deserve to experience all of it. At every stage of life, take these steps, empower yourself, and live your best life at every age.